Hello, hello. Hope you're doing absolutely fantastic today. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you've never seen my face, never seen one of my videos, my name is McKenna. I own a digital media company called Studio SB Creatives, and today I'm actually making a follow-up video to a video I made a couple weeks ago about getting started doing real estate photography. And in that video, we covered the absolute basics, equipment, camera settings, and just a little tip to help you progress in your journey. But today in this video, we're actually going to be diving into more of the technical aspect of how to take the photos and how to take better photos in real estate. So we're going to be covering what the actual goal of real estate photography is. We're going to be covering how to actually frame the photos so that you can take the best pictures possible. And after we cover those couple things, we're going to be talking about, the photos that you need to take in order to have, a well-rounded portfolio of the home or building that you're taking pictures of. So without further ado, let's get started. So first things first. In order to take good pictures, we actually have to understand what the goal of real estate photography is. I mean, we've probably all been on Zillow or on, Facebook Marketplace, and we've seen a house pop up and we've looked at the pictures and just wondered what was going on. Like, why are the pictures so terrible? And I'm not just talking about like the pictures being of a messy house. I'm talking about, why do the pictures genuinely suck? And that is because the person taking those photos probably did not understand the goal. So what is the goal? Well, what you might think initially is that, it's, to make the space feel as big as possible. I mean, that is one thing that we want to do. We want to make the spaces feel big and bright, but that is not the goal necessarily of real estate photography. The goal of real estate photography is to take photos in such a way that best showcase a certain space or area. How do we actually do that? What do I mean by that? When it comes to real estate photography, we achieve that goal through the framing of our photos. And we do that in one of two ways. And that is 1, by centering the photo, or 2, by utilizing the rule of thirds. How do you know which one to use? Well, when taking the photo, obviously your goal is to best show off the space. And the best way to do that, whether it be a bedroom, a living room, a kitchen, etc., is to show off 3 different walls. Now, that's not always going to be achievable. Smaller rooms, usually you can only get 2. When it comes to centering or thirds, what we have to decide is which one of those ways best displays the space. So what I've actually figured out when doing my own photography in real estate, centering photos usually makes the space feel a little bit wider, as to using the rule of thirds, which usually makes the space feel more elongated. And I choose those based on what the room is asking for. What you'll notice a lot of times is in larger spaces, it's better to go with the rule of thirds to show off that depth. I'm talking about in like big living rooms that are super open, usually with higher ceilings and such, or I see it a lot of times in basements because there's usually not a whole lot of walls. Most of them are unfinished and you can see all the way through and they go the length of the house. So when it comes to shooting those spaces, when it comes to deciding whether to use center framing or rule of thirds framing, it really comes down to what the space calls for. So if you're shooting a wider space, it might be better to put the corner of the room in the center of the frame. When you're shooting a longer space, it might be good to put that corner on one of the third lines. So after we figured out, what our goal is and how to frame the photos and what the room is calling for, we need to figure out what angles to actually take. So the way that I usually like to do things is I stand in one corner, usually closest to the door, to show what a person would see if they walked into the room. And then I usually, when possible, like to stand in the opposing corner and take the photo that way. This usually works for all the main areas, living rooms, kitchens, and then it usually works for bedrooms. It really depends on, one, where the door is, and two, where the bed is, if there is a bed in the room, because a lot of people in bedrooms will put their beds in the corners, usually on the opposing angle, which makes it hard to do that. So what I'll actually do in that instance is take one from the door, but then I will take one from, the next angle over, looking at the wall on this side, and then I'll go to the opposing corner from that side corner and take one facing back the other way. And through those three angles, you should have the entire room photographed. And, that's pretty much the formula for shooting any type of real estate. And then before I wrap up this video, I do have one more little tidbit for you, actually. It's something that I actually figured out a little late into my real estate photography career. But, better late than never. So this pertains to shooting dining rooms with a table in there or a kitchen with a detached island. So I know I said that you're going to want to figure out whether to center your composition or if you're going to want to use the rule of thirds. But when it comes to shooting dining rooms with a table or kitchens with a detached island, what I figured out is that 9 times out of 10, what you're actually going to want to do is not worry about the corner on the back wall. You're actually going to want to be focused on the furniture or the island itself. And then when it comes to those things, you're actually just going to want to center those pieces of furniture or that island. I found that those are the best way to show off those spaces. So there's a little Easter egg for you, little sauce. But other than that, that's pretty much all I've got for you. And, it might take you a minute to figure out, the best way to shoot certain areas. But if you're constantly thinking about, showing off those 3 walls, and like I said, it's going to be pretty much impossible in smaller rooms, such as like half baths, laundry rooms, and just rooms like that in general. But if you focus on those things, you should get the grasp of it pretty quick. So with that being said, if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you found this video useful, you have any questions, concerns, things that you want to discuss, go ahead and leave me a comment. And if you want to see more videos like this, you want to see what crazy adventures I get up to in the future, because there will be some crazy adventures, or if you just want to see more on my face, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And with that being said, I will see you on the next one.